You see your reflection every day. In the bathroom. In store windows. In your phone screen when it goes dark. You never question it. It's just, you. But have you ever caught something off? A flicker of movement that didn't belong. A slight delay in the way it blinks, breathes, reacts. Maybe you tell yourself you imagined it. Maybe that's what I told myself, too. Until the night my reflection didn't just move on its own. It stepped out. And by then, it was too late. I worked nights. Long shifts at the hospital, endless hours under fluorescent lights. Watching the second hand drag across the clock like a dying insect. By the time I get home, the world is silent, asleep. That night was no different. 2:13 a.m. My apartment was dark, cold. The air smelled faintly of rain. I kicked off my shoes, dumped my keys on the counter, and dragged myself to the bathroom. I didn't turn on the light right away. Instead, I let the dim hallway glow spill in, just enough to see. Just enough to not see too much. I splashed cold water on my face, sighed, then looked up at the mirror. And for a single, stomach-dropping second, my reflection didn't move. It was barely noticeable. Just a slight, almost imperceptible lag. Like a video buffering. I frowned. Blinked. It blinked too, half a second late. My chest tightened. My pulse thudded against my ribs. But then, everything was normal again. My reflection copied me perfectly, moving in sync, no hesitation. Had I imagined it? Probably. I was exhausted. It had been a 14-hour shift. My brain was fried. Still, I shut off the light and left the bathroom. But as I pulled the door closed behind me, I could have sworn, just for a breath, that my reflection was still standing there. Watching. It happened again 2 nights later. I was buttoning my shirt in front of my bedroom mirror. Halfway through, my fingers fumbled, and a button slipped to the floor. I bent down to pick it up. When I straightened, my reflection was still bent over. A solid second passed before it stood upright to match me. I stopped breathing. The air in the room shifted, thickened, like something had stirred unseen. I stared. My reflection stared back. A test. I lifted my right hand. It lifted its left. I exhaled shakily. That was normal. That was how mirrors worked. But still, a heavy unease crept up my spine, whispering, something is wrong. I backed away from the mirror. The reflection did the same. Everything looked right. But it wasn't. I didn't know it yet. But it wasn't. The following week, I avoided mirrors as much as I could. No checking myself before leaving for work. No glancing at store windows. I even turned my bathroom mirror around. I told myself it was paranoia. Sleep deprivation. A weird trick of the brain. But then came the night that proved I wasn't crazy. The night it smiled. I had just come home. The apartment was dark, quiet. I threw my bag onto the couch and headed straight for the fridge. When I opened the door, the light inside flickered. The reflection on the stainless steel surface wavered. And then, in that warped, distorted version of myself, it grinned. I did not. I slammed the fridge shut so hard the bottles inside rattled. My chest rose and fell in shallow, ragged breaths. When I forced myself to look again, everything was normal. My own reflection. Wearing my own tired expression. No smile. No delay. No wrongness. But that was the moment I knew. Something was in the mirror. And it wasn't me. After that, I avoided every reflective surface like it was poison. But avoidance wasn't enough. Because whatever was in the mirror, whatever watched me from the other side, it wanted out. And one night, I broke the rule. Never look into a mirror in the dark. That was my mistake. That was when it stepped through. It started with a whisper. Soft. Faint. A breath against the back of my neck. Eric. I woke up, heart hammering. The room was pitch black. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, 3:33 a.m. I told myself it was a dream. A hallucination. Sleep paralysis. Then, the closet mirror shifted. Not a trick of the light. Not my imagination. It moved. Like something pressing against it from the other side. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. The whisper came again. Eric, let me in. The glass bulged outward. Like a bubble, stretching and straining, like it was ready to burst. And then, a hand pushed through. Fingers. Pale. Too long. Too thin. They groped blindly, curling against the air, reaching for me. I bolted. Ripped open the door and sprinted into the living room. My skin was crawling, my breath coming in panicked gasps. Behind me, in the dark, I heard it. A soft, wet footstep. It had come through. I didn't turn around. I didn't dare. I squeezed my eyes shut and whispered, over and over. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. The sound of breathing. Not mine. Behind me. Slow. Deep. Wrong. I reached for my phone with shaking fingers. The screen's glow lit up the room just enough to cast a faint reflection on the TV screen. And there, behind me, it stood. My reflection. But not me. Its eyes were too wide. Its smile was too sharp. And as I watched, it stepped forward. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I just stood there, frozen, staring at the thing in the TV screen's reflection. It was me. But not me. Its smile stretched too wide, pulling at the corners of its mouth like skin stretched over broken bone. Its head tilted slightly, its dark eyes locked onto mine. Then, it stepped forward. And I felt it behind me. The air turned ice cold. The smell of something old, rotten, wrong filled my lungs. A whisper slithered down my spine. You left the mirror open, Eric. My stomach twisted. No. No, no, no. I clenched my fists. My legs were trembling. Do not turn around. Do not turn around. I forced my voice out, a raw, broken whisper. What do you want? The thing in the reflection just smiled wider. To be you. My breath hitched. And then, it moved faster than anything should move. I barely had time to react before it grabbed me. I screamed. But no sound came out. The world flipped, no, it collapsed. For a split second, I was inside the mirror. A space without sound. Without air. A frozen, endless darkness. I was weightless. Trapped in the void between glass and reality. Then, I was slammed back into my body. I hit the floor hard, gasping for breath, my vision swimming. The lights in my apartment flickered violently. Shadows twisting in unnatural angles. The thing was gone. But something was wrong. I pushed myself up, hands shaking, and turned toward the nearest mirror. And my stomach dropped. The reflection looking back at me. It wasn't moving. I raised a trembling hand. My reflection did not. I took a step forward. It stood perfectly still. Watching. My mouth went dry. No. A slow, terrible smile stretched across its face. Then, with slow, deliberate movements, it raised its hand and touched the glass. The world tilted around me. A low, wet whisper coiled through my ears. "You're on the wrong side, Eric." And I realized, with a sickening, soul-crushing horror, I wasn't looking at a mirror anymore. I was looking through a window. I was the one trapped inside. And the thing that had taken my place, it was free. I pounded on the glass, screaming. But no sound came. The thing on the other side, asterisk asterisk, the thing wearing my face, asterisk asterisk, tilted its head, watching me like a curious animal. Then it did something horrible. It laughed. A silent, unnatural laugh, shoulders shaking with delight. And then, it turned away from me. It walked out of my apartment, into my life, leaving me behind. Trapped in the dark. Trapped in the glass. I don't know how long I've been here. Time doesn't move in this place. There's no sound. No warmth. Just an endless stretch of mirrors. And worse, I'm not alone. There are others here. Their shapes flicker behind the glass, their whispers crawling through the silence. I see their hands press against the glass from the other side. Some are screaming. Some are crying. Some are just watching. They were like me once. People who made the mistake of looking too long. People who let something else step through. And now, we wait. For someone new to look too closely. For a crack in the glass. For a way out. If you're reading this, you're already in danger. Because now, it knows you know. Tonight, when you look into the mirror, watch carefully. If your reflection lingers a second too long. If it blinks at the wrong time. If it smiles when you don't. Do not move. Do not breathe. Do not react. Turn off the lights. Leave the room. And whatever you do, do not let it out. Because if you do, it will take your place. And you will never get it back.